Okay, in this video, we're going to look at choosing the right software for your specific needs. And we're going to be covering in here automation versus manual trading, MT4 versus MT5, TradingView, specific prop firm software, and basically looking at the different nuances of each of the pieces of software out there and allowing you to make your own decision on what you want to use. I will give recommendations on the software that I use, which basically is MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5, but that's predominantly because I trade CFDs. So if you're going to be going down the prop route only and you're not going to be trading anything else, you're probably going to be forced into using specific other software like Tradovate, NinjaTrader, or specific prop firm related software. If you're trading prop CFDs, you're going to be allowed to trade on MT4, MT5 as well, probably. So it's probably better if you can to just use one piece of software and decide on which one is best for you. So let's take a look at the different types of software. Okay, so we're going to look first of all, before we have a look at the software, at what a candlestick is. Okay. Now, one important piece of information which a lot of traders tend to miss is that it doesn't matter which piece of software you use. Some traders think Tradovate is better than everything else because they make more money on it. Okay, there is no such thing as making money on a software package. You make money by buying and selling at the right time. However, a candlestick is a candlestick, and it doesn't matter which charting platform or which broker you're looking at. We are all going to see the same thing. Therefore, the software choice that you make should be based on what you are comfortable with as a trader or what you need as a trader. If you're about automation and about back testing and making sure that your strategy is robust, MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5 are probably going to be your platform of choice. If you're all about how the candlesticks look and the funky indicators with the footprint charts and everything, then you're probably going to want to use something like TradingView or Tradovate, which is absolutely fine. But you've got to be comfortable with the software you use. And more importantly, it needs the indicators and the facilities that are going to allow you to trade your platform, your specific strategy. So looking at the candlestick is a candlestick side of things. I just wanted to prove the point by going to multiple different software packages with multiple different brokers and looking at the same chart. Okay, so I'm going to start off here in MetaTrader 5. Okay, this is trading Robo Forex. You can see we got the pound US dollar here with this whacking great spike yesterday. It then traded down, pushed up, traded down, pushed up, and it's trading down again. Okay, so that's MetaTrader 4 for the pound US dollar. MetaTrader 5, sorry. If I change over to MetaTrader 4, you can see basically it's doing exactly the same thing. Yeah, big spike up yesterday, pushed down, pushed up, pushed down, pushed up, pushing down again. Okay, so we've got the same candlesticks shown on MetaTrader 4 as we have on MetaTrader 5. If we switch over onto our web-based platforms and look at the pound US dollar, again on, this is FXCM broker on TradingView. There's our big spike from yesterday. The market pushed down, pushed up, pushed down, pushed up, and it's pushing down again. Yeah, exactly the same pattern playing out on that one as Tradovate. Here's Tradovate. This is my Take Profit Trader account. There's the big spike we had yesterday. Pushed down, pushed up, pushed down, pushed up, pushed down. Same thing. Okay, so it doesn't matter what you're using, which piece of software you want to pick. A candlestick is a candlestick. Price is price. All brokers are going to quote the same price. What we're looking at here on Tradovate is actually the 6B futures contract for the pound. So this is not even the pound US dollar forex cross. This is the futures contract for the British pound. But you can see this is exactly the same as the pound US dollar, pretty much. You're going to find slight nuances with futures. They're going to have slightly different price points to forex. But at the end of the day, you're going to see the same thing. If something is doing something, it will do it absolutely everywhere. Okay. So if the candlestick is a candlestick, it means that it doesn't matter which charting platform you use. You can pick the one that you prefer. For me, it's all about automation, which is why I prefer to use MT4 and MT5. So my journey as a trader has taken me from sort of through 20 years of discovery of what works and what doesn't, And in the last sort of 10 years, I've fallen very heavily into mathematical and statistical trading, which basically creates edges. So I need, as my software tool, something that is going to be able to allow me to backtest large data sets as quickly as possible to see if there's a strategy or an edge available to me. So looking at the automation versus manual trading side of things, if you're trading on futures and small time frames, you're probably going to be scalping on low time frames like 1 minute, 5 minute charts. Automation on those time frames can be done, but backtesting on them is incredibly long-winded and quite difficult to do. But if you are trading a strategy that you know has a long-term edge, that you've been trading for a long time on low time frames, you can very easily automate it with MetaTrader 4 or MetaTrader 5. So the reason I use these platforms is because of the automation more than anything else. So I've created all my indicators and my expert advisors, my trading robots for MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5 because it allows me to backtest them. So if I open up the backtester here in MetaTrader 4, I've got the opening range breakout EA here on the NASDAQ. And as you can see, what it allows you to do is just quickly set up a strategy, test different variations of that strategy with different ranges, different targets, different stop losses, etc., all the different variables of a strategy, which we'll cover in backtesting at a later stage in the course. But it allows you to quickly run through from any date you want to find out whether or not that strategy has an edge. And I'm going to run through around about 6 months here in just a few minutes. And I'm going to discover whether or not the strategy that I've programmed into this EA has got a chance of making money. Okay, so it's very, very good at automation. And automation for me and backtesting is 90% of my job. I would rather go and do something else than be sitting here watching a chart. So MT4 and MT5 allow me to run strategic tests like this and lots of automation and robustness tests and come to the conclusion of whether something works or not. I can then set that on a chart and let it trade this strategy for me automatically. So when you're manual trading, obviously you have a lot of emotion involved. There's a lot of money available. If you're trading prop, obviously you're trading usually large figures that you're not used to using or having yourself. So the emotion tends to take over, and that's where most traders tend to fail. Automation takes you out of that equation. If you backtest something, you can see how it performs. You will know how it's expected to perform in the future, and you can let your software just take over the reins and trade for you. 90% of trading is backtesting and analyzing backtests. 10% of it is executing those trades when you know you've got a strategy that works. So for me, it's much more important to have a piece of software that can do this and prove to me that something works than it is for something that looks pretty like TradingView. Okay, so there's a quick backtest that I've done, which gives you an idea of how the strategy works. You've got a visual mode in MT4. MT5 is very similar as well, where you can basically just have a look at that strategy playing out. So you can see the strategy playing out in front of you, see how it works, how it takes trades, how it makes money, how it loses money, more importantly, so you can try and fine-tune those losses and get rid of them. So this is something we're going to cover robustness testing in much more detail. But this is basically why I prefer MT4 and MT5. The MT4 and MT5 comparison, there's not a lot in it. The MetaTrader 5 platform was meant to replace MetaTrader 4. We basically rebuilt the platform with a different language, and then basically the whole purpose was for futures. They wanted to trade more futures on it, and obviously what happened was TradingView took over the futures market, and basically it wasn't used. So MetaTrader 5 is there. It's fantastic. It's got a real good advantage in the strategy tester where you can actually test multiple symbols at once rather than just one. So for doing large back tests, it's very good, but it's not as good as handling data. So I prefer MetaTrader 4 for the fact that I can use a plugin called Tick Data Suite, which I can download any data from a vast majority of brokers going back 20 years. And I know that that data is reliable. So data is key when you're backtesting, which we will also cover. So that's the difference between the MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5 platforms. MetaTrader 5 is a little slower with the analysis side of things. When you change charts, it can take a little bit longer to load those charts up than MetaTrader 4 does. Some of the indicators on there don't work quite as well, But apart from that, there's not a massive difference between the two. So it's test them both out, pick the one that you're more comfortable with, pick the one that you prefer, or more importantly, pick the one that your indicators work on that you want to use. Okay, so that's the difference between MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5. And we've looked at automation and manual testing and back testing via automation, which is absolutely critical. TradingView and web-based software. So this is TradingView. As you can see, it's another charting platform. You can do all sorts of things with it. It's very different to MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5. It's web-based, which is an advantage, which means you can have it on your laptop and you can just connect to it via the web and trade from it anywhere. But then you can with the software that you download from MetaTrader anyway. So not really a massive advantage there. You still need an internet connection. So TradingView is one of the leading platforms out there. It does look good. It's a visual interface. It's fast. There's a lot of indicators available for it. But as far as automation goes, it's not as good at automation because it is a web-based platform. With MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5, we can set up VPS servers. We can just plonk versions of the software on there and let it trade 24/7 for us. Much more difficult in TradingView. TradingView also has a backtesting mode. The backtesting mode is great. It's really good for visual backtesting and step-through testing, but I'm more about automation. I'd rather backtest 10 years within 5 minutes rather than sit there and manually go through backtesting that period myself. So for me, TradingView looks great and it's a really good platform. And if you're going to be trading on futures, there's a lot of brokers which are going to force you onto this platform, or they're going to have their own software which uses TradingView charting, which is great as well. So have a look at TradingView as well. Go and play around with it. And it's a case of just seeing if you are comfortable with this interface or seeing if you're more comfortable with MetaTrader 4, MetaTrader 5. There is other software out there like multi-charts and things you can look at as well. But the advantage of MT4 and MT5 is virtually all CFD brokers, which is the vast majority of what everybody's going to be trading on unless you're in the US and you can only trade futures. They are all offering MT4 and MT5. There is a huge marketplace of indicators and expert advisors available for MT4 and MT5 as well. So there's pretty much anything you would want to see on your chart has already been programmed, whereas with TradingView, it's a little bit more behind. This is Tradovate. This is a futures platform. This is probably one of the leading platforms for futures, apart from TradingView, which is more general. This is a great trading platform as well. You'll find a lot of prop firms offer this. So prop firms which trade futures tend to offer either Tradovate as an option, TradingView as an option, or a software package called Rhythmic. Now, Rhythmic is more of an interface, and that will allow data feeds from your prop firm to be fed out to other software like NinjaTrader, for example, which is one of the other big pieces of software to do with futures trading. So again, Tradovate, another one to go and have a look at and have a play around with. But what you're going to find is when you sign up with a prop firm, for example, this is Take Profit Trader, you're going to get an option of 1, 2, or maybe 3 pieces of software. So if you are comfortable with a piece of software, or if you like a piece of software and prefer it, your job to find a prop firm or a broker is to find one that supports that software for you. Okay, so I will give recommendations based on what I do, and you'll see me as we go through the course using different types of software depending on whether I'm trading futures with prop, or whether I'm trading CFDs with prop, or whether I'm just trading my own accounts with MetaTrader 4, MetaTrader 5. So whichever one of these pieces of software you want to use for analysis, you don't have to actually execute your trades on it. So if you fall in love, for example, with MetaTrader 4, because you love the speed of it, it's got all the indicators you want on it, and you just like the way that it works and it's really easy to use, there's absolutely nothing wrong with using this for all of your analysis. You can use it for your alerting, you can use it for analysis, you can use it for creating expert advisors to do backtesting and everything, but you don't have to trade on the piece of software that you use for anything, because you can always go to your broker who will always have a web-based terminal, this is RoboForex's, where you can just come and press a buy and a sell button. So for example, I've just got an alert here on the New Zealand dollar Swiss. On the 4-hour chart, there's a potential alert there. So I can go and have a look at that alert and see that it's extended down here and it's a good buying opportunity. So I can pop over to my broker software over here and say, show me the New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc. Yeah, I can look at that chart and say, excellent, I want to take a buy and hit the button. Okay, so I don't have to trade on this particular platform that I'm doing my analysis on or I'm using for alerting systems. I can just do that on my broker. So don't forget that. You don't have to trade with the same broker on the same software package. You can do your analysis on TradingView and then come back over and execute your orders in MT4 if you want to. It doesn't matter. So go and look at them all, play with them all, test them all out and see what you prefer. But if you're going to use a specific broker or specific prop firm, obviously you're going to be led down one of those routes with them anyway. So that's basically it for software, apart from one final thing, which is very important. Using your mobile phone. Now, I see a lot of videos on YouTube of guys sitting there saying, I just made $2,000. Look. And they show you a mobile phone with usually meta quotes, MetaTrader 4 or MetaTrader 5 on their mobile and their P&L. Yeah, they did not make that money on their mobile phone. Okay, they didn't make that money full stop anyway, 99% of the time. However, there is a use for your mobile phone. When you're trading specifically on MetaTrader 4 or MetaTrader 5, or really on any platform, TradingView and everybody has an app available for your mobile. Your broker will have an app available for your mobile as well. So the use for your mobile phone is not for taking trades. It's not for analyzing the market. It's there to monitor your account. So, for example, I take a trade on something like the NASDAQ in the afternoon session, which is very slow. I'm long on the NASDAQ. I have to go out because I've got to go and do something, but I've got a trade open. I can either close that trade and take the money now, or if I think it's going to go, I might want to let it go. So what I can do is leave the house, have my mobile phone with me, and monitor the trade on my mobile. I do not use a mobile phone to execute trades. Don't believe that you can make 6 figures a year on your mobile phone as a trader. It's not going to happen, but there is a use for it, okay? And it's for monitoring your trades. So keep an eye on your trades on your mobile by all means, and use it as a tool to close out positions whenever you need to, okay? So that about covers software. I'm going to be covering MT4 and MT5 in a lot more detail throughout the course because those are the platforms that I use. But you'll also see me using things like Tradovate on my prop accounts. So hope you enjoyed that. If you've got any questions, feel free to click the Ask a Question button up there, and I'll cover those in the members sessions, in the Q&As. But that's it for software, so go out and have a play.